When the lawyer read out my late grandmother's will and skipped my name entirely, my mother looked down and said, "We need to talk after." My grandmother died on a Tuesday. By Friday, we were all sitting in a lawyer's office on the 14th floor of a downtown building, and the air conditioning was running too cold, and I kept thinking about how she used to press warm bread into my hands every time I visited. There were 6 of us in the room: my mom, my Aunt Renee, 3 cousins I'd grown up with, and me, the lawyer. A man named Gerald with reading glasses he kept pushing up his nose started going through the documents slowly. The house on Birchwood, the savings account, the jewelry, the car, piece by piece, name by name. I sat there with my hands folded in my lap, not worried. My grandmother and I were close. Everyone knew that. Gerald kept reading. He closed the folder. My name had not come up once. I looked around the room. My Aunt Renee was very still. My cousins weren't looking at me. My mother was staring at the table, and she didn't look surprised. She looked like someone who had been holding something heavy for a long time and was tired. "We need to talk after," she said, not to the room, just to me. I nodded because I couldn't speak. We waited while Gerald gathered his papers and everyone else filed out, doing that careful eyes down thing people do when they've just received good news in front of someone who received none. My cousin Britt touched my arm on the way out. I don't know what it meant. When the room was empty, my mother sat back down across from me. "There's a reason she didn't include you," she said. "Okay, she found out something about 6 months ago." My mother pressed her fingers flat against the table. "She didn't tell you because she didn't know how. And then she got sick so fast, and there wasn't time, and she asked me to be the one to tell you after." "Tell me what?" She pulled out an envelope from her bag. Just a plain white envelope with my first name on the front in my grandmother's handwriting. She slid it across the table. "She wrote it all down," my mom said. "I haven't read it. She sealed it herself." I picked it up. The paper was thin. I could feel there were several pages inside. "Just tell me." She looked at me for a long moment. "Your father," she said. "The man we told you was your father. He's not." I put the envelope down. "We were separated for almost a year," she said. "You were born 8 months after we reconciled. I thought the timing was close enough. I told myself it didn't matter." She exhaled. "Your grandmother figured it out. She hired someone. She said she needed to know the truth before she died." "Who?" My mother shook her head. I picked up the envelope and tore it open. My grandmother's handwriting was shaky. She'd written this when she was already sick, but she was thorough. She always was. 3 pages. She explained what she suspected and why. She explained what she paid to find out. She included a name. I read the name. I read it again. My mother was watching me. "She didn't cut you out to punish you," she said. "She wanted you to know that what she left you wasn't her estate. She said you deserved more than money. She said you deserved the truth." I turned the letter over. On the back, in smaller writing, my grandmother had added a note. It said she'd already contacted him. Said she'd told him he had a daughter and that she was about to die and that she wanted him to know before she did. Said he hadn't responded. "Did you know she reached out to him?" I asked. My mother shook her head. "She didn't tell me that part." I sat with that for a moment. My grandmother dying, spending some of her last clear days tracking down a man who hadn't responded. "There's more," my mother said quietly. I looked at her. "Gerald asked me to stay behind after you all left." She folded her hands. "There was a second document, a separate one she filed 2 weeks before she passed." My mother's voice was very careful now. "She left a separate account, a transfer on death account that bypassed probate entirely." She reached into her bag again and passed me a single sheet of paper, a bank statement. My name was at the top. The balance was $412,000. "She didn't skip you," my mother said. "She made sure no one in that room would know."